Did you notice that your bank has been quietly updating its terms of service? It's usually buried in that giant block of text you scroll right past to click accept. These updates are adopting the specific legal definitions of tokenized assets and payment stablecoins found in the 2025 Genius Act. By clicking accept, you are agreeing to move your money onto a new architecture where every dollar is programmable. This is the second attempt at a financial overhaul. The first was a central bank digital currency, or CBDC, digital money issued and controlled directly by the Federal Reserve. A CBDC is more than a digital dollar. It is a direct financial link between your personal wallet and the state. It removes the barrier of the private bank, allowing the government to monitor your balance in real time. When the privacy implications of that direct link became clear, the public pushback was intense. Citizens realize that a centralized ledger provides the state with unprecedented oversight. With a CBDC, the government can see the specific item, the time of purchase, and the physical location of every transaction you make. Because the money is code, it can be programmed with conditions. It can be set to expire if it isn't spent by a certain date, or restricted so it can only be used on government-approved goods and services. Faced with a public that refused to accept a state-run currency, the government shifted its strategy. They moved away from a visible CBDC and toward a system that uses the private banking sector as the interface. The new strategy is simple. Let private banks build the programmable infrastructure themselves, then regulate it until it functions exactly like a CBDC. Back in July of 2025, the U.S. passed the Genius Act. This established the first federal framework to legitimize private stablecoins, digital assets that are pegged one-to-one with the U.S. dollar. By February 2026, the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the OCC, released draft rules to bring these stablecoin issuers under strict federal oversight. This oversight is presented as a benefit. To protect consumers, stablecoins must be backed one-to-one by U.S. Treasuries, ensuring they are safe and liquid. However, that same regulatory framework mandates that every issuer must have the built-in technological capability to freeze or seize individual assets to comply with government orders. By embedding these rules into private stablecoins, the government has created the surveillance and control mechanisms of a CBDC, but tucked them inside the apps of the banks you already use. We are now seeing the rise of tokenized deposits. Banks are preparing to move your checking and savings accounts off of old, isolated ledgers and onto these new, surveilled blockchain networks. Instead of sitting in a closed bank database, your money will live on interconnected rails where assets are fully programmable. This makes enforcement instantaneous. A federal signal travels to the bank's central node on the blockchain, instantly paralyzing a specific tokenized deposit. This arrangement allows the state to maintain total surveillance over the movement of capital, while the private banks handle the day-to-day operations and the public pushback. This shift changes the nature of wealth. If your assets are held in a permissioned, government-monitored ledger, you no longer have true ownership. You only have a license to use that money. To avoid having their capital locked into these permissioned systems, large-scale investors are moving their wealth into assets that cannot be frozen by a centralized database. This explains the aggressive push into physical real estate, providing a layer of protection against the debasement and surveillance inherent in the digital system. We are also seeing a renewed focus on physical gold and silver. These are bearer assets. They exist entirely outside of bank ledgers and have no kill switch attached to them. By diversifying into physical assets, these investors are building a fortress around their wealth to remain outside the reach of programmable money. For the average person, the digital equivalent of that fortress is self-custody crypto. This involves holding decentralized assets in cold storage, offline wallets disconnected from the banking grid. Holding your own private keys gives you exclusive cryptographic authority to move your funds. You become your own bank. Without a central authority on a decentralized blockchain, no government can freeze your wallet or change the terms of your Bitcoin. In the bank-led system, your access to your money is a privilege that can be revoked. In decentralized math, that access is a cryptographic certainty. As these new banking architectures go live, you have a choice to make. You can accept the programmable system, or you can take responsibility for your own financial sovereignty. How are you positioning yourself for this transition? Let me know in the comments.